Okay, we are just going to go over number 1 really quick from your math homework from last night. This was a tricky problem. I don't think it was tricky to figure out what operation it was, but I think some people got tricked up just because it was adding 3 different fractions. And so there's a lot of organization that goes to that. So anyway, so Mrs. Lackey walked 3/5 of a mile with Ellie, 3/4 of a mile with Scarlett, and then 1 1/3 of a mile with both. So how much did I walk in all? So like I just said earlier, I think and all of you were able to identify that this is an addition problem. Okay? Now I did give the tip, and I wrote it up here, solve one problem at a time. Don't try and tackle too much at once. So we want to just pick 2 fractions to solve at once. So I'm just going to go ahead and solve these 2 at once. So let's find the sum of that. So I'm going to do it over here. I want to give myself more space too. Some of you in this tip, be neat with your work. Some of you need to use maybe a different piece of paper, and that might be helpful. So anyway, so 3/5 plus 3/4, okay? And so for that, 3/5 plus 3/4, I'm going to find a common denominator. My common denominator that I found is 5, 10, 15, 20, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, so is 20. So I'm going to change this to have a denominator of 20 and this to have a denominator of 20. So to get from 5 to 20, I have to times 4, and so do the same thing to the numerator, and 3 times 4 is 12. So I've got 12 20ths. And here, to get from 4 to 20, I times 5, and again do the same thing to the numerator, and so I get 15. So I've got 12 20ths plus 15 20ths, and if I add them, I know 12 and 12 is 24, 25, 20, so that's 27 20ths. I did that mentally, you do not have to, okay? So another way to say 27 20ths, you could rename it now as proper, or you can just leave it, sorry, you can rename it, as proper or mixed, or you can just leave it improper like this while we go ahead and add our third fraction, so 1 1/3. So now I'm going to have to do 1 1/3 plus 27 20ths. And I think the thing that's tricky here is just that there's a lot going on with different denominators. So now, again, I have to make the denominator the same. I'm actually going to make this proper. I think it might be easier for me. 27 20ths is the same thing as 27 divided by 20. 20 goes into 27 one time, that's 20, subtract, you get 7. So it's 1 7 20ths. I'm going to call it that. So I've got 1 1/3 minus 1 7 20ths. And again, now I just need to make these denominators the same. So thinking of what 3 can go into and what 20 can go into. So 3 can be made into 60ths. So and 20 can be made into 60ths. I'm going to grab another Post-it real quick because I'm kind of going off of mine. So if I rewrite that, 1 1/3 is 1 and how many 60ths? And 1 7 20ths is 1 and how many 60ths? And then I would be adding those together. So to get from 20 to 60, I times 3. 7 times 3 is 21. To get from 3 to 60, I times 20. So there you go. And so now I'm adding. Add the numerator, so I get 41. Denominator stays the same, so 60. And then add your whole numbers. So that is the sum, which can be simplified, but we're not going to, or actually, no, that can't be simplified. So the answer to this is 2 41/60ths of a mile. That was a little tricky, and also I want to share that the way I did it isn't the only way to do it. But I think the big points are to stay organized and to only add one fraction at a time, okay? Excellent job. You can continue with your flow map when you are finished watching this video.